After 23 years of marriage, my wife left me for a younger guy who sold supplements on TikTok. But when her dream man dumped her, she came crawling back, expecting a second chance. Have you ever gotten blindsided so hard that you start questioning every memory you ever made? Yeah, that was me 5 months ago, standing in my living room like an extra in someone else's midlife meltdown. My name's Nick. I'm 50. For 23 years, I thought I was happily married to a woman named Leanne. 3 kids. 1 mortgage. A whole life stitched together out of late nights, PTA meetings, carpool chaos, and Sunday dinners. Turns out, while I was out there building a life, Leanne was building a fantasy with some dude named Griffin, a 27-year-old wannabe entrepreneur who sells supplements on TikTok and calls himself a lifestyle coach. Yep, that's who she risked everything for. She dropped the bomb on a Tuesday. I remember because the dishwasher was broken and I was elbow deep in suds when she waltzed in, sat down at the kitchen table like we were having coffee, and said, "Nick, I think it's time I told you the truth." She didn't cry. She didn't even flinch. Just laid it out like she was canceling a magazine subscription. She'd been having an affair for almost 2 years. With Griffin, a guy she met at a corporate wellness seminar. She said she was leaving. That the kids were old enough now. That I deserved someone who made me happy. Said it was her turn to feel alive. Alive? She already had her bag packed. Not like overnight stuff. I mean the whole thing: chargers, makeup, yoga mat. She had planned this. And me? I fell apart. 23 years. I begged her to stay. Not my proudest moment, but I was in shock. I offered therapy. Time apart. Anything. She smiled, patted my shoulder like I was a sad coworker, and said, "You'll be okay." Then she left. I sat there, in a kitchen that still smelled like her perfume, trying to process the fact that my wife had just turned our life into a disposable checklist. Our youngest, Harper, came home an hour later and instantly knew something was off. I told her. Badly. Then called my older 2 kids, Eli and Sophie. They came home. So did my younger brother, Drew. Drew moved into the guest room that night. Took over making meals. Dragged me to the gym. Made sure I showered. I wasn't functional, but my family. They held me up. And Leanne? Radio silence. I figured she was busy living her best delusional life with Griffin the guru. Until a week later, my phone rang at midnight. It was her. She was crying. Not cute movie tears. Ugly, guttural sobs. Turns out Griffin wasn't looking for a relationship. Or a family. Or a woman pushing 50 with 3 nearly grown kids. He thought she was a fling. An exciting escape. He told her she was too intense and that he wasn't ready to be someone's stepdad. She had left everything for a fantasy. And when it crumbled, she realized she had no backup plan. That's when she asked if she could come home. Yes. Home. As if she had just gone on a soul-searching weekend, not detonated our entire marriage. I told her no. She tried to spin it. Said she was confused. Said she made a mistake. Said I was being petty. Petty? No, Leanne. Petty is leaving your husband for a discount Tony Robbins and expecting to crawl back when the spark fizzles. I told her this wasn't her home anymore. Then I hung up. And you know what? That night, I slept straight through for the first time in years. But oh, trust me. That was only the beginning. So after the whole "can I come back home" meltdown over the phone, I figured that would be it. I figured Leanne would go off and start her new life, version 2.0, somewhere far away with a Pinterest board full of regrets and essential oils. I was wrong. Oh, so wrong. The next day, she showed up at the house. I was in the driveway washing my car, trying to enjoy 5 minutes of quiet. I saw her pull up in that same beige crossover she drove away in a week earlier. She stepped out like she belonged there, like she hadn't lit a match to everything we built. "Nick," she said, all soft-voiced and mascara-streaked. "I just need to talk." She had no luggage. No plan. Just tears and a sweater that clearly hadn't seen a washer since Griffin ghosted her. I didn't invite her in. I didn't offer her coffee. I just crossed my arms and let her talk. And boy, did she talk. She said she missed the kids. She missed me. That she'd lost herself and Griffin had taken advantage of her vulnerability. That she made a mistake and just wanted to come home. Said she'd be happy to sleep on the couch if that's what it took to earn back my trust. I told her to stop. Because everything she was saying wasn't for me. It was a performance. She wanted forgiveness without accountability. A reset button without consequences. And the worst part? She thought showing up and crying was enough to rewrite the script. I reminded her that she didn't just cheat. She chose to cheat. She planned it. Nurtured it. Lied to me, to our kids, to herself, for years. She didn't trip and fall into an affair. She climbed in and shut the door behind her. She cried harder. Said the kids hadn't returned her calls or texts. That they were being cruel. Cruel? No. They were drawing boundaries. Something Leanne had never respected. I told her I'd talk to the kids, not for her, but because I wanted them to hear everything from me before she started spinning her version. She nodded, then asked if she could just sit in her car for a while. I let her. She stayed there for over an hour. Meanwhile, I sat down with Harper that night. Told her everything. The truth unfiltered. She didn't cry. She just nodded and asked, is she coming back? I said no. Eli and Sophie came over later. Same conversation. Same answer. They weren't angry. They were tired. Tired of being lied to. Tired of watching me hurt. And above all, they were tired of pretending like Leanne hadn't shattered the trust in our family. And here's where it gets messy because a few days later, Leanne tried the backdoor approach. She showed up at Harper's school. Not to cause drama. Not to make a scene. But to talk. Harper texted me from the nurse's office. Said she didn't want to see her. I drove straight over. And that's when I realized, Leanne wasn't trying to come back for us. She was trying to fix her image. Trying to patch up the parts of her life that made her look good. The mother role. The wife's title. The picture-perfect family she bailed on the second it wasn't exciting anymore. I confronted her in the parking lot. Told her if she pulled anything like that again, I'd go straight to the school board and get a no-contact order. She cried again. Said she just wanted to explain. But there's nothing left to explain when your actions say it all. She drove off. And I haven't seen her in person since. But the messages? Oh, the messages kept coming. After the school parking lot incident, I thought, okay, surely she gets it now. She crossed a line. She knows it's over. Maybe this time she'll actually leave us alone. Spoiler, she didn't. In fact, she went from pathetic to persistent to manipulative in record time. The very next day, I woke up to an email from Leanne. Not a short one, either. I'm talking a 6-paragraph novella. She titled it For Closure and Forgiveness. And yeah, it was everything you're thinking. She said she realized she'd made a mistake. That Griffin was emotionally immature, that he manipulated her into thinking their fling was real. She called him a narcissist, a user, a fraud. Said he blocked her on everything. That she was now in therapy, journaling, doing yoga, and rediscovering herself. She even attached a photo of a sunrise with a quote overlay, "It's never too late to come home." I'm not kidding. I didn't reply. She followed up later that night. This time it was a voice message. Her crying, rambling about how she threw away the best thing in her life. That she was ready to come home now, like I was just waiting on standby like a hotel concierge. Again, I didn't respond. So she changed tactics. Started sending old photos. From vacations. Family dinners. The kids' birthdays. Pictures of us smiling, hugging, laughing. Little captions like, "We were so happy here and can't believe I almost lost this." Then came the memory dumps. She'd send one long text a day, usually at night, full of random nostalgic memories. Remember when we got caught in that rainstorm in Seattle? Remember when Harper used to call ketchup red sauce and you refused to correct her because it was cute? I swear, it was like watching someone flip through a scrapbook and beg the pages to jump off the paper and take her back. She even reached out to my brother, Drew. Asked him to put in a good word. Said she was just looking for a chance to make things right. Drew, being the blunt genius he is, told her, and I quote, "You broke it. You don't get to glue it back together just because your rebound didn't come with a warranty." But it didn't stop there. She sent the kids letters. Actual, handwritten letters. Long ones. Rambling apologies. Emotional appeals. She tried to guilt them, said she missed being their mom, that they were punishing her for being human. Harper threw hers in the trash. Eli scanned it into a PDF, emailed it to me, and said, "Thought you should see the latest act in her redemption arc." Sophie? She didn't even open hers. Said she already used her last chance. Not reading another performance. It was sad, honestly. Not because I pitied her. But she still didn't get it. She didn't understand that love isn't something you just reclaim like a purse you forgot at a party. It's not waiting in the corner for you to get your act together. It breaks. It leaves. It moves on. And so did we. But she wasn't finished. Because next, she tried to rewrite the story so hard you'd think she was auditioning for a daytime Emmy. You'll see exactly how far she went to play the victim. After the school parking lot incident, I thought, okay, surely she gets it now. She crossed a line. She knows it's over. Maybe this time she'll actually leave us alone. Spoiler, she didn't. In fact, she went from pathetic to persistent to manipulative in record time. The very next day, I woke up to an email from Leanne. Not a short one, either. I'm talking a 6-paragraph novella. She titled it For Closure and Forgiveness. And yeah, it was everything you're thinking. She said she realized she'd made a mistake. That Griffin was emotionally immature, that he manipulated her into thinking their fling was real. She called him a narcissist, a user, a fraud. Said he blocked her on everything. That she was now in therapy, journaling, doing yoga, and rediscovering herself. She even attached a photo of a sunrise with a quote overlay, "It's never too late to come home." I'm not kidding. I didn't reply. She followed up later that night. This time it was a voice message. Her crying, rambling about how she threw away the best thing in her life. That she was ready to come home now, like I was just waiting on standby like a hotel concierge. Again, I didn't respond. So she changed tactics. Started sending old photos. From vacations, family dinners, the kids' birthdays, pictures of us smiling, hugging, laughing. Little captions like, "We were so happy here and can't believe I almost lost this." Then came the memory dumps. She'd send one long text a day, usually at night, full of random nostalgic memories. "Remember when we got caught in that rainstorm in Seattle? Remember when Harper used to call ketchup red sauce and you refused to correct her because it was cute? I swear, it was like watching someone flip through a scrapbook and beg the pages to jump off the paper and take her back." She even reached out to my brother, Drew. Asked him to put in a good word. Said she was just looking for a chance to make things right. Drew, being the blunt genius he is, told her, and I quote, "You broke it. You don't get to glue it back together just because your rebound didn't come with a warranty." But it didn't stop there. She sent the kids letters. Actual, handwritten letters. Long ones. Rambling apologies. Emotional appeals. She tried to guilt them, said she missed being their mom, that they were punishing her for being human. Harper threw hers in the trash. Eli scanned it into a PDF, emailed it to me, and said, "Thought you should see the latest act in her redemption arc." Sophie? She didn't even open hers. Said she already used her last chance. Not reading another performance. It was sad, honestly. Not because I pitied her. But she still didn't get it. She didn't understand that love isn't something you just reclaim like a purse you forgot at a party. It's not waiting in the corner for you to get your act together. It breaks. It leaves. It moves on. And so did we. But she wasn't finished. Because next, she tried to rewrite the story so hard you'd think she was auditioning for a daytime Emmy. You'll see exactly how far she went to play the victim. Update. Just when I thought Leanne's tactics couldn't get any lower, she somehow tunneled deeper. Her whole pity parade hadn't worked, not on me, not on the kids, and definitely not on Drew. So she did what every guilt-tripping, attention-starved person does when no one's clapping anymore. She rewrote the script and recast herself as the hero. It started with social media. One of Harper's friends sent me screenshots from Leanne's Facebook. She'd posted some pseudo-poetic quote about losing yourself trying to be everything for everyone, followed by a long caption. It didn't name names, but oh, the subtext was radioactive. She talked about betrayal. About being abandoned. About how some people only support you when you play the part they wrote for you. She even said she wasn't perfect, but that she was doing the work and forgiveness is the foundation of healing. I nearly threw my phone across the room. Then came the mutuals. You know the type, the ones who never check in until they smell drama. Suddenly, I was getting texts like, "Hey, man, maybe it's time to let the past go and she's clearly hurting, you should talk to her." Talk to her? She detonated our marriage and tried to blame the debris on me. But it got worse. I found out she'd started telling people, mutual people, that our marriage was already falling apart before she met Griffin. That we'd grown distant, that I never listened, that she didn't feel seen. Classic cheater script, really? Rewrite the narrative. Pretend the betrayal was the result of the breakup, not the cause of it. She even told one of Sophie's old teachers who apparently reached out to check on her that I'd been emotionally cold for years. That she stayed for the kids. That she sacrificed her happiness for everyone else. Sacrificed? Please. She left without blinking. Then the kicker came, she posted a photo of our family from 5 years ago. A beach trip. Captioned it, "What I'd give to go back to this day." Comments poured in. All the fake sympathy. People who didn't know the truth say things like, "You deserve happiness and so proud of your growth." Growth? She left her husband for a dude who sells detox teas and dumped her the second she got clingy. That's not growth. That's karma with a twist of irony. I didn't respond to any of it. Neither did the kids. But I could feel the pressure building. She was trying to manipulate the world into feeling sorry for her, hoping enough of them would that I'd cave. But here's the thing, when someone sets fire to your house and hands you a bucket of tears, you don't invite them in to dry off. And I was done explaining that to people who didn't bother asking what really happened. So I logged off. I locked down my socials. Blocked her number. Told the kids they could do whatever they wanted, but I was out. And then silence. For 3 weeks. Until the knock on the door. Because, of course, there was a knock on the door. And who was standing there? Leanne. Looking like she'd rehearsed the whole scene. With something in her hand. A letter. A real, physical letter. And what was inside that letter? Well, that's a whole other kind of finale. So there she was. Leanne standing on my porch like we were still living in some alternate universe where any of this was normal. She was holding an envelope like it was some kind of peace treaty, one she clearly thought might undo the war she started. She looked rough. Makeup smeared, hair thrown into a bun that hadn't seen a brush in days, and that look, the one people get when they finally realize they've run out of people to lie to. I didn't say anything. Just stared at the envelope. "I just want you to read it," she said. That's all. I didn't invite her in. I didn't even take the envelope right away. But eventually I did. I shut the door. Sat down. And opened it. It started with the usual script. Apologies. Regret. Reflection. She wrote that she couldn't believe how much pain she caused. That she was lost. That Griffin was a mistake. That she missed the kids. Missed the way I made her coffee. Missed the quiet moments. And then she dropped the big ask. She wanted to come back. Not just to visit. Not just to reconnect with the kids. She wanted to move back in. Said she needed stability. Said it was better for the family. That maybe we could figure things out slowly. She compared our situation to a season of storms. Said every storm passes if the foundation is strong enough. I laughed. I sat there alone, reading that line over and over again and laughed until I couldn't breathe. Because of the foundation? She didn't just crack it. She bulldozed it. Poured gas on it. Lit a match and walked away. But here's where it got really rich. She tried to offer terms. She said she'd be willing to sleep in the guest room for a while and attend couples therapy. She even suggested we take a trip, just the two of us, to reconnect. This woman cheated. Left. Lied. Manipulated. Rewrote history. Weaponized guilt. And now? Now she thought she could fix it with a vacation? What planet is she living on? I folded the letter neatly, tucked it back in the envelope, and slid it straight into the shredder. Then I texted her one final message. Do not come back. Do not write. This chapter is closed. I sent a photo of the shredded letter for good measure. She didn't reply. And that silence? It was the most peaceful moment since the whole disaster began. There's still more to say. But this was the moment I knew I was truly done. After shredding that letter, something inside me finally clicked into place. Not anger. Not triumph. Just clarity. Leanne's little drama arc was over. She'd played the part of the selfish dreamer, the remorseful ex, the guilt-ridden mother, all of it, rehearsed like some tragic monologue. But this wasn't her story anymore. It was mine. The silence after that final message was beautiful. No more surprise visits. No more emotional blackmail disguised as nostalgia. Just quiet. And in that quiet, I started living again. I started sleeping through the night without checking my phone. I cooked meals that didn't come from a frozen box. I joined a cycling group. I even got back into sketching, something I hadn't touched in years because, well, life didn't leave much room for hobbies when you were married to someone who needed constant validation. Harper's doing better too. She joined the school newspaper. Eli started dating again. Sophie started calling me every week just to talk, no drama, just laughs. Our home finally feels like a real home. Not a house with a hidden fault line running through it. As for Leanne, she faded out like background noise. A few of our mutuals stopped reaching out when they realized I wasn't buying the redemption arc. Some stuck around and apologized for not seeing through her sooner. And me? I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet, but I've had a few coffees with someone who actually listens, who laughs with me, not at me. It's weird. At 50, I didn't think I'd be starting over. But maybe that's the beauty of it. I didn't just survive what Leanne did. I rebuilt, brick by brick. And this time, the foundation is mine. To everyone who's been here since the beginning, thank you. And if you're going through something like this, betrayal, heartbreak, a total life shakeup, I hope you hear this. You are not the sum of what someone did to you. You're the story of how you rise after the wreckage. Would you take someone back after they nuked your trust? Would you even want to? Let me know in the comments. And if you've been quietly rooting for me through this whole mess, I felt that. And I appreciate it more than I can say. Because healing might be messy, but peace is priceless. Hope you enjoyed this story as much as I do. Help this small channel grow by hitting that like button, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. Every bit of support means the world. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.